Hi guys, in today's video I thought I'd film a video on basically why I chose to feed raw and why I changed from the foods I was feeding. So if you guys have watched my channel for a while, you guys would have known that I was feeding butternut box to to Isla and Arthur, and then Rocco, my partner's dog, was being fed on Forthglade. So I personally chose to feed Arthur and Isla butternut box from when they were quite young, mostly because of Isla. So Isla is quite a sensitive girl when it comes to commercial foods. Now there are some good commercial foods out there, but none of them agree with Isla. Cold press didn't work with Isla. Foods like Wolfworthy didn't agree with her. Arthur is not as bad. But so it was then getting to a point where Isla was constantly getting ear infections. We were trying allergy meds. We were doing allergy tests on him. Nothing was coming up. So I decided to go and switch over to butternut box, which is a more natural food. It's not as processed, but it is still cooked. And that worked for her and Arthur for at least 3 years now. Arthur's 2, so Arthur's been on it since he was 3 months old. Isla's 6 months. And it worked for them for quite a while. And then lately I've noticed Arthur was having diarrhea. Rocco, my partner's dog, who was on Forthglade, which again is quite a decent food, the wet food especially, he did not want to eat it, like, at all. And I'm quite strict with the dog, so I didn't necessarily think it was just him being picky, because, like, for example, we only leave the dog's food down for 30 minutes. I'm quite strict on treats, and yes, it wasn't necessarily an issue of pickiness, I don't think. And then Isla would then start to go off the butternut box, and I was chatting to one of my vet friends in work, and butternut box has actually changed their formula, so it's more legume heavy, less meat heavy, which I didn't necessarily agree with. And also, looking into legumes, they're not actually that easy for dogs to digest, and it's basically a filler. It's basically a cheap filler. So I then started looking at different foods. I was chatting to one of my friends on Instagram, I think her Instagram is M's Pet Shed or M something. And she's been feeding raw for years for her dogs. And then I was chatting to some other raw feeders, and I was watching Cam from the Dog Nutritionist, and he comes quite recommended. And he was basically stating how good Bella and Duke was. And the thing is with raw, if you do it wrong, it is one of the worst foods you can go and feed. But if you do it right, it's actually a really, really good food. So about a week ago, we decided to nip into Pets at Home and grab some Bella and Duke. Now we have just now subscribed to their online service, so basically it comes out every month. But it was okay, let's see what they think of it. Now they do working and they do general dog. Now with the working dog, you just feed slightly less. There isn't that big of a deal, to be honest, about it. So it does come in about 10 different flavours, so it does give different proteins and different varieties, which I'm a big believer in. So we switched them over a week ago. Now personally, when I do switch over from, for example, general to raw, I do just go do a cold switch, because they digest them all very, very differently, and that's when you can sometimes have issues in terms of upset stomachs. So yeah, so we switched them over about a week ago. So far they are loving it. Now Rocco was going 3 to 4 days without eating. Now he is eating this food every single day, which is really, really good for him. And he's actually licking his bowl clean. He's actually getting excited for dinner time, which he has not for quite a while. Isla's done great on it. Arthur's now no longer getting diarrhea. Everything seems to be going great. Now there are things I do just like as a safety precaution. So raw dog food is different to raw human food. So raw human food is not designed to be not cooked. So there are more bacteria than, for example, raw dog food, which is, there is basically a process that they have to go through in terms of safety checks to make sure this is safe for consumption, etc. But I do, obviously, they have their own knife for food. They have their own bowls, obviously. I wash bowls, obviously, after every feeding. I don't leave it down now for more than 10 minutes, but they do tend to eat it within less than 5. So there are things, obviously, that we do to make sure this is safe. And so far, yeah, no issues. So this is just the whitefish. So here is actually the composition of it. So as you guys can see, it is very, very meat heavy. There is no fillers in there. There are veggies in there. Like, it is just a really, really good food. Now, there are things we do add to this. So, personally, like, for example, now, every day for last week, they have had the Pooch and Mutt Health and Digestion. Now, they've been fine. They tend to get this every other day anyway, but this was more just as, like, a preventative, really, for an upset stomach. So this just helps basically make sure that they're okay. Then I add some salmon oil for their coats. I just have this brand. I tend to just go for any brand, to be honest. I'm not overly picky on salmon oil, neither are they. They get this every day. They will also get coconut oil, which is great for their skin, a few times a week. They get that. They then also get this, which is the Pets at Home Dental Plaque Remover. It is the exact same as Plaque Off. It's just half the price. They do also get their teeth cleaned every day to every other day. It just depends on how they are on the day with it. They also get their natural treats, like their chews. They get sprats. Like, they do get quite a good diet, I think, at the moment. So yes, that's just kind of why I changed it. Now this for this packet is £3.45, which is quite a good price, to be fair. And this will last the dogs a day, which is cheaper than what the butternut box was. So yeah, so let's dish up the dogs dinner and see what they think. So this is just what the dog's food side looks like when it is all weighed out. Now these bowls are huge, so it does actually look like they've got considerably less than what they actually should have. But yeah. But as you can see, the dogs are actually really, really into this food right now, which is great. But I will say that their stools have been significantly better, so they were having some upset stomachs. Rocco's hair is super, super shiny at the moment, which is really nice to go see. But it's actually nice that he's actually eating it, because he just did not want to eat at all previously, which was not nice to go see. So yeah, so that is it for this video. If you guys would like to go see what I feed my guinea pigs, or like what the animals eat in a day, let me know. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Please comment, like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys on my next video. Bye guys.